Time to break down the Knowles here at the Voice of College Football. We always appreciate Logan Robinson dropping by to break down his beloved Florida State Seminoles. And this has gotten to be a habit over the last several years with Logan and myself getting together pre-spring training, spring camp, spring practice, and then obviously diving into the fall camp as well. And Florida State playing in week 0 is out on the field in front of everybody else, unless your name's Georgia Tech, I guess. So Florida State's on the field. Logan, how's it going?
It's doing good. Always fun to jump on here with you, Mark. And it smells like football season. And for Florida State jumping into the practice fields and first day of pads actually happening today just feels great. And I'm so happy to see, Florida State get back onto the field just because of what they were able to show us last year and where there is potential wise with talent, and see if they can get back to Charlotte and get to that ACC championship in 2024.
Yeah, you look at Vegas numbers right now in terms of win totals and odds for the ACC championship game, and it appears as though Florida State, Miami, and Clemson are running a pretty tight race according to Vegas odds. I guess on one hand, a lot of people just believe in what Mike Norvell is doing, believe that he's hit the transfer portal and replaced some people. On the negative side, a lot of people think that they've lost too much. So we will dive into it. And I think we're, at least for me, an old guy, we're early enough in the transfer portal world that it's still strange when I'm associating a particular player with a particular program and they spend a lot of time there to see them in another uniform. In a couple of years, that's going to be everybody, so it's not going to be a big deal. But for right now, we're used to seeing guys pretty much stay in the same place. And then when it's a prominent player that had all the attention that DJ Uiagalelei had coming into Clemson as a 5-star, and of course took over for Trevor Lawrence. He moves on to Oregon State, just coming back into the same conference he started in and playing for what has been the main competition for the conference championship for the last 10 or 15 years. Just kind of strikes me as a great story just to see how he performs. But man, he's got a tough act to follow in Jordan Travis. So just your thoughts about DJ, his development, and what we can expect out of him.
I think it is crazy nowadays to know that, most of these teams are just going to be filled with transfers, and, specifically looking at in Tallahassee, what Mike Norvell has been able to do with this program. It's predicated on a lot of these transfers coming in and making an immediate impact. And that's exactly what DJ is going to do this upcoming season. Expected to be that starter when Florida State goes into week 0 facing Georgia Tech. And it's a big time replacement for a guy like you had with Jordan Travis. And going back to our days on this show, Mark, we spent a lot of time about Jordan Travis and spent a lot of time kind of having some criticism for him at the very beginning. And then we slowly saw that growth from him. We're not going to have that kind of tenure with DJ. This is going to be a short little stint that we'll have with him in Tallahassee. And it all depends on how he's going to work with this offense. And I think Mike Norvell is going to have to mold something different with this offense, with what we have talent-wise alongside with DJ and that wide receiver room, tight end room, even at the blocking side up there and the trenches, the running backs as well. It seems like what Mike Norvell did in the transfer portal and in the recruiting room, they tried to build an offense that could help and maybe boost DJ's play, because going from Jordan Travis to DJ's such a big arm talent. You're looking for those long shots, those explosive plays, which Mike Norvell loves. You go back to where Jordan Travis was doing that with Ontario Wilson. Pokey was a big time game playmaker for Florida State. You go over Ja'Kai Douglas, and you go, of course, to some other guys that maybe weren't so explosive, but still had the length to make you some big time plays like Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman in the last few seasons. So DJ comes in with a good amount of talent around him, a lot of speed, a lot of chance at those explosive plays. But it's more of the difference for me is the smarts and understanding, the pocket presence, and also too, for him, not allowing that pass rush to get to him. And I think too, when I first and saw my first practice with him in the spring, kind of holding on the ball a little too long, allowing for that pass rush to get to him, not able to be as elusive as what we used to see with Jordan Travis. And I think this is going to be really more predicated too on what the offensive line is going to do, protecting DJ. If they can protect DJ and allow him to stay looking downfield, that's going to be a big plus. But then again, it's got to go over to DJ and say, you can't hold on to the ball this long. And you're not as wild and special of a runner like we had with Jordan Travis. Florida State was very, very, very lucky in that regard, where if Florida State's offensive line broke up a little bit there and had some guys get to the back end, Jordan Travis could evade one, maybe two, even three, but DJ is a different kind of player there. He's 255 pounds. This is a bigger guy. So those are my biggest question marks for DJ going into this fall camp and this 2024 season. It's going to be a mix of that offensive line, what they can do protecting him, and then also DJ and developing there with Tony Tokarz, Florida State's quarterbacks coach.
We talk Florida State football with all of you each and every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch Logan on Knoll Game Day and the rest of the group there at Knoll Game Day for your regular breakdown of Florida State football every day. And you still do the Wednesday show?
Yes, Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Excellent. Well, as you know, Logan, so much was made of the quarterback play after Jordan Travis went down. That became one of the focal conversations of college football late November, early December, and because of the decision the committee made. Okay, Brock Glenn's back. He had the one shot. Your thoughts about his development, what he needs to do so that there's no drop off?
So, I know we're previewing camp, but it's just started and everything. So we can kind of give some tidbits here. I like Brock Glenn in a lot of ways. And number one to me is he's very competitive and he's willing to learn and he listens very well with Tony Tokarz and Mike Norvell. We saw that whenever he had to get thrown into the fire during his freshman season. He had to start an ACC championship game. We know it. He had to face against in the bowl game against Georgia, and also too he just ran in there against Florida on the road and said, I'm ready to go. Just let's go. There was no kind of question marks and kind of concern there. And he was above AJ Duffy in that room. So you already saw the strides being made by him. And from what we saw in the spring and definitely in the start of fall camp, I've really liked what we're seeing from the young quarterback. Is there a quarterback battle here? No, because I said earlier, expected to start here is going to be DJ, but I like Brock Glenn being on his heels. I want Brock Glenn on his heels. And there's times where he's looked better in the offense than DJ. And I think that's a really good sign for his development. FSC fans might freak out about that by that comment, but this season is about 20. I don't want to say it, but you're hoping to, yes, you want to get back to that college football playoff because there is so many more teams. We have a bigger chance of getting that college football playoff, but you want to see the development of those younger quarterbacks that are there to develop because there is a lot of strong talent there with Brock and Luke Kromenhoek. And for him to be developing like this and in stride with DJ, sometimes outbeating him offensively in practice and getting down the field, connecting better, it's a good sign from Brock Glenn if you're specifically just trying to, solely focus on him. But I like him. I think him and Luke have a very strong potential to have one of the most competitive quarterback competitions that we've had since Jameis Winston and Jacob Coker. I think I'm already licking my chops for 2025. So hopefully once we get on here, if everything goes straight, we will have a quarterback competition that we're going to be very fond of going into that season when we get back on here, Mark. But Brock Glenn has had a solid spring, and he's starting off fall camp very strong. And Luke Kromenhoek, too, just real quick, true freshman quarterback, got to practice before the bowl game against Georgia a little bit early on. This guy has all the natural abilities. That's just so easy to tell. Just some things from what I've been hearing at practices so far and looking at the spring. You can see it in person. I've seen it in person multiple times. It's just all about development there. There's no kind of rush on him. There shouldn't be any kind of rush on him, but there's a reason why Florida State was one of the first teams to get involved with him and made sure to secure him into that commitment. This kid is special and just allow him to develop. But really, it's watching DJ and Brock Glenn on his heels try to get up to that starting spot. And it's been fun. It's a great quarterback room. It's the best one we've seen in years.
So, Logan, since you're anticipating a quarterback battle for the number one spot in 2025, Kromenhoek and Glenn, do you expect there to be a battle for number two between those guys?
Florida State has done a really good job in the recruiting realm. Tramel Jones most recently shut down his recruitment quarterback commit. One of the top ones was an Elite 11. He's going to be jumping in there and going to try to stir up some things. But yeah, there's going to be someone that's going to have to compete for that number 2 spot. But I don't think anybody between Glenn and Kromenhoek are going to be. No one's in their minds are thinking about number 2. It's all about QB1. And to me, is there? I don't. If it's Brock Glenn, it's Luke Kromenhoek. I don't see any kind of crazy concern to where they move elsewhere, but they have that talent ability where they could go start at some other places if need be. And if there's a program that needs a quarterback with a strong potential, with some good developing talent, there's 2 quarterbacks right there. But I'm not even worried about that at this point. But those 2 are so enriched on becoming QB1, and it's showing with Brock Glenn pushing on the heels of DJ right now in fall camp. And Luke has already told us in his opening presser, his newcomer presser, I know I'm number 3 probably right now, maybe 4, wherever I'm at, but I'm fighting to get that QB1 spot. And I think that's something that I absolutely love, and every FSU fan should as well. This is Florida State. This is how it should be.
Breaking down the Knolls with Logan Robinson. Catch him every Wednesday night. So we go live here at the Voice of College Football at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Logan and the guys on Knoll Game Day. You're live at 7?
Yep, 7 o'clock. We're right after you guys, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
So we're at 6. Logan and the guys at 7. You can make it a double header of Florida State football every Wednesday night, everyone.